The envelope sat heavy in my palm, its weight far exceeding the single sheet of paper inside. My father's face, carved with lines of disapproval, told me everything before I even broke the seal. This wasn't going to be the cozy Christmas Eve I'd hoped for, gathered around the fireplace with mulled wine and laughter. I'm Elise Navarro, and this was the night my family decided I was no longer part of their legacy. Well, aren't you going to open it? My sister Cassandra lounged on the edge of our mother's prized velvet armchair, her voice dripping with honeyed mockery. She twirled the sapphire necklace they'd gifted her moments earlier, its facets catching the glow of the Christmas tree. The room smelled of pine and cinnamon, but the warmth of the season felt like a cruel facade. I glanced at the lawyer, Mr. Hargrove, who shifted uncomfortably in his corner chair, his presence as out of place as a storm cloud at a picnic. My fingers traced the wax seal, hesitating. 4 pairs of eyes pinned me in place: Mom, Dad, Cassandra, and Hargrove. I slid my nail under the flap and pulled out the document. The words hit like a slap. Last Will and Testament Amendment. My breath caught as I scanned the text. I don't understand, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. You're cutting me out completely? My mother, Sylvia, always Sylvia to her high society friends, didn't look up from her wineglass. It's for the best, darling. You've made your choices and we've made ours. My choices? A bitter laugh escaped me. You mean opening my own cafe instead of chaining myself to Navarro Enterprises? A cafe? My father Victor sneered, his voice sharp enough to cut glass. We invested a fortune in your education, Wharton. For God's sake, you're throwing it away on coffee and pastries. They're not just pastries, Dad. It's my dream. Dreams don't keep the lights on, he snapped. Cassandra understands duty. She's already proving herself at the company. Cassandra's lips curled into a smug smile. Don't be so dramatic, Elise. You knew this was coming. What did you expect choosing this? I folded the paper with deliberate care, my hands trembling only slightly. The tree's lights flickered, casting fleeting patterns on the walls, reminding me of the glow sticks we used to chase each other with as kids, back when family meant shared secrets and stolen cookies, not ultimatums. Actually, I said, standing and smoothing my skirt, I expected better from my parents. My mistake. Elise, Hargrove interjected, his tone cautious. Perhaps we could discuss this after the holidays? There's nothing to discuss, Sylvia said, her voice cold as the December wind outside. The decision is final. I crossed to the foyer, grabbing my coat from the rack. The wool scratched against my neck, or maybe that was the lump in my throat. Where are you going? Victor demanded. We haven't even had dinner. I've lost my appetite. I slung my bag over my shoulder and paused at the door, turning back. You know what's funny? You think you're punishing me, but... I smiled, letting the secret I've been guarding warm me like a hidden ember. You might be hurting yourselves more than you realize. What's that supposed to mean? Cassandra stood, her perfectly arched brows knitting together. Merry Christmas, I said, ignoring her. And good luck. You're going to need it. The oak door thudded shut behind me, sealing off the warmth of the house. Outside, snow fell in soft, silent waves, muffling the carols drifting from neighboring brownstones. I pulled out my phone and dialed. Lila, it's done, I said, my boots crunching through the fresh powder toward my car. They did exactly what we thought. You okay? Lila's voice was steady, grounding me. Better than okay. I slid into the driver's seat, the cold leather biting through my tights. That thing we talked about? It's time. As I drove away from the Upper East Side mansion that had once been my whole world, a weight lifted. They thought they'd written me out of their story, but they didn't know I was about to rewrite the entire plot. My phone buzzed with a text from Cassandra. Hope you're proud of yourself. You've ruined Christmas. I typed back, my fingers flying. On the contrary, Cass. This is the best gift I could have asked for. Freedom. The city lights blurred as I headed downtown, toward the life I'd been building in secret. They had their precious will, but I had something better, a plan. And thanks to their own carelessness, I had the key to make it reality. A Tribeca loft they'd forgotten was in my name, a gift from Dad years ago for tax purposes. It was worth millions, enough to fund my dreams, and if I played my cards right, their undoing. They thought they were cutting me loose. I whispered, watching the Navarro mansion shrink in my rearview mirror. But I'm the one setting sail. For months earlier, I'd stood in the loft's cavernous living room, Lila at my side, her whistle echoing off the exposed brick walls. They seriously forgot this was yours? Dad transferred it to me 6 years ago, I said, running my hand along the sleek kitchen island. Some tax dodge. They haven't stepped foot here in years. Probably don't even remember it exists. The space was a time capsule, mid-century furniture under dust sheets, abstract art collecting cobwebs. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed a view of the Hudson, glinting like liquid silver. How much is it worth? Lila asked, peering at the river. I handed her my phone, open to the realtor's appraisal. Her eyes widened. Holy Elise, this could fund your cafe chain. And then some. I grinned, imagining the look on my family's faces when they realized. Equipment, staff, prime location. Everything. Lila flopped onto a covered sofa, sending up a puff of dust. They're going to lose it when they find out. That's the beauty of they won't. Not until it's too late. I opened a cabinet, revealing a stash of vintage wine glasses. The transfer was legal. They signed it over. Done deal. Okay, genius, walk me through this plan again. Simple, I said, joining her on the sofa. Sell the loft, use the money to open Starlight Brew, my cafe. Build it into something undeniable. And wait. Wait for what? For the house of cards to fall. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling's industrial beams. Navarro Enterprises is in trouble. Big trouble. How do you know? Jasper, my friend from business school. He's at their bank. Their last loan application? Denied. Flat out. Lila's grin was feral. So you're saying their empire's crumbling, and you're about to rise from the ashes? Exactly. I tossed a dusty cushion at her. And Starlight Brew's just the start. The next weeks were a whirlwind. Realtors swarmed the loft, their polished shoes clicking on the hardwood. It sold in 10 days, cash offer, above asking. I barely blinked at the number. It was just fuel for what came next. I found a corner spot in Nolita, high foot traffic, reasonable rent. Jasper helped me crunch the numbers, his skepticism turning to awe as my business plan took shape. You're really doing this, he said over coffee one morning, biting into a test batch of my rosemary lemon scone. His eyes closed. Okay, this is unreal. You're definitely doing this. Told you, I said, sliding him my laptop. Look at the location. Corner of Mott and Prince. Exposed brick, big windows. He nodded, scrolling. You've done your homework. But burning this bridge with your family, are you sure? They burned it first. I shut the laptop with a snap. This isn't revenge. It's survival. But even I couldn't deny the spark of satisfaction at what was coming. The day I signed the lease, Lila brought Prosecco to the empty storefront. We sat on the floor, toasting with paper cups. To Starlight Brew, she said. May your coffee be strong and your vengeance sweet. It's not vengeance, I protested, but my grin betrayed me. Sure it's not. She smirked. You're funding your empire with their forgotten loft while their company tanks. That's poetic justice. The contractors arrived the next week, transforming the space into my vision. Warm oak floors, brass light fixtures, a mural of constellations wrapping the walls. Every choice felt like a step away from the Navarro shadow. The morning we hung the sign, Starlight Brew in glowing script, I stood across the street, watching it catch the dawn light. My phone buzzed. Cassandra. Mom and Dad are worried. You're not answering their calls. Busy, I typed back. Big things happening. Whatever. Don't come crying to us when your little project flops. I pocketed the phone as the first delivery truck rolled up. Let them think I was dabbling. Let them underestimate me one last time. Where do you want the espresso machine? The driver called. By the window, I said. Where everyone can see it. Because that was part of it too, letting success scream louder than their doubts. 2 blocks away, Navarro Enterprises' glass tower loomed. Soon they'd smell my coffee from their boardroom and choke on it. 3 months later, Starlight Brew was a phenomenon. The line snaked out the door, customers clutching to-go cups emblazoned with our Constellation logo. My barista, Maya, called from the front. Elise, we're slammed. 2 more catering orders just came in. I wiped flour from my hands and peeked through the kitchen hatch. Sunlight poured through the windows, illuminating a crowd that spilled onto the sidewalk. Food bloggers snapped photos, influencers tagged us in stories, and the local paper had named us Best New Cafe. Jasper pushed through the back door waving his phone. Your matcha croissants trending on TikTok. And guess what? Your family's firm just lost another client. I focused on piping frosting onto a lavender latte cake. Is that so? He leaned closer, voice low. Word is they're hemorrhaging cash. Layoffs are coming. I set down the piping bag. They made their bed. You're cold, he said, but his grin said he admired it. Most people would feel something. Most people's families don't disown them over a dream. I handed him a fresh scone. Payment for the intel. The bell chimed and Lila burst in laughing. Elise, the Times just listed us as a must-visit. Guess who's number 1? Before I could answer, my phone lit up. Cassandra. I answered, bracing myself. What? Is it true? She demanded, no preamble. You're buying up property on Spring Street? I smiled, thinking of the deal I'd closed yesterday. Starlight's profits had given me enough to invest, and Spring Street was prime real estate. Actually, I'm in talks for 2 buildings. Why? That's where Dad wanted to expand the office, she said, her voice tight. Oops. I dusted edible glitter onto a tray of macarons. Guess he'll have to look elsewhere. Market's hot right now. You're doing this on purpose. Doing what? Running a business? Isn't that what you all wanted? Silence stretched on the line. Look, Cass, I'm busy. Got a wedding to cater. But swing by sometime, make a killer humble pie. I hung up, catching Lila and Jasper's stares. That was savage, Jasper said, laughing. That was perfect, Lila corrected. But Spring Street? You didn't tell me. Finalized it this morning. I pulled out a folder. 2 buildings, historic charm. Perfect for retail. And guess who's leasing the ground floor? Who? That artisanal tea shop you love. They're opening their flagship. Lila squealed, grabbing the lease agreement. You're unstoppable. Speaking of unstoppable, Jasper said, your mom's here. I froze, then peered through the hatch. Sylvia stood in the middle of the cafe, her tailored coat out of place among the casual crowd. Her eyes scanned the room, the packed tables, the glowing reviews framed on the wall, the baristas moving like a choreographed dance. Her expression shifted from skepticism to something softer, almost like regret. Showtime, I muttered, stepping out. Hi, Mom. Try the Dream Latte. It's on Food Network's radar. She flinched at my tone. Elise, we need to talk. It's important. I'm swamped. I gestured at the chaos. You know, running a business. Please, she said, and for the first time in years her voice cracked. I let the word hang, savoring it. Fine. I've got a gap at 5. Meet me here. I paused, then added, at my office. Her eyes darted around me, cafe, my empire, and she nodded stiffly. As she left, Lila whispered, You're making her grovel, right? I watched Sylvia's retreating figure. No. I'm making her taste her own medicine. At 5, my parents walked into Starlight Brew. The cafe was quiet, the evening light casting golden streaks across the tables. I'd sent the staff home, leaving only Lila, who was cleaning the counter with shameless curiosity. Tea, I offered, gesturing to a porcelain set I'd arranged. It's Darjeeling, your favorite, Mom. This isn't social, Victor snapped, but Sylvia touched his arm. Tea would be lovely, she said, sitting. Her eyes kept wandering to the mural, the awards, the empty chairs that had been full hours ago. I poured, adding a plate of cardamom shortbread. So what's this about? We need to discuss business, Victor said, his jaw tight. Business? I raised an eyebrow. I thought cafes were a waste of time. Things have changed, Sylvia said carefully. The company's facing challenges. Challenges? I sipped my tea. I heard you've lost half your staff, 3 major clients, and your credit's shot. How do you? Victor started, then glared. Jasper. Jasper's a friend, I said. Unlike family, friends don't stab you in the back. Sylvia's cup clattered. We need a partner. Someone with capital vision. I laughed sharp and cold. Vision? You said I was delusional. We were wrong, Sylvia said softly. What you've done here, it's remarkable. Very remarkable, Victor added, though it sounded like it hurt. The catering, the press, the real estate. Ah, Spring Street. I cut him off. That's what this is about, isn't it? Among other things. He slid a folder across the table. We're offering a partnership. Equal stake with Cassandra. I took the folder but didn't open it. And why would I want that? It's your legacy, Sylvia insisted. Your birthright. My legacy? I stood, crossing to the wall of clippings. This is my legacy. Starlight Brew, those buildings, the community I'm building. That's my birthright. Your company. It's sinking. We need capital, Victor admitted, his voice raw. Without it, we lose everything. Funny how that works. I leaned against the counter. Karma's a hell of a barista. What do you want? Sylvia asked, desperation breaking through. Name it. You still don't get it. I opened the folder, scanned the offer, then tore it in half. This isn't about money. It's about respect. You never gave me that. We're trying now, Victor said, his fist hitting the table. No, you're desperate. I gathered the torn papers. You're here because Cassandra can't save you, and your plan B just bought your expansion block. Sylvia paled. The loft. That's how you did this. Yep. The one you forgot was mine. Turns out, I'm pretty good at business when you're not holding me back. You planned this, Victor accused. No, you did. Every time you dismissed me, every time you chose Cassandra, every time you tried to mold me into your image. I tossed the papers into the trash. I just played the hand you dealt. You're enjoying this, Sylvia whispered. Not really. I started clearing the table. I'm just done being your pawn. They stood, Victor's face flushed, Sylvia's drawn with shame. At the door she turned. What about family? Doesn't that mean anything? It meant everything, I said, my voice steady. Until you showed me it didn't. After they left, Lila emerged, whistling. That was epic. It's not over. I stacked the teacups. They'll be back. And then they learn what it's like to start from zero. I smiled. Just like I did. 6 months later, Starlight Brew was an empire. 3 locations, a catering arm, and a 4th cafe in the works. I stood outside my latest purchase, a restored warehouse in Dumbo, soon to house Starlight Enterprises headquarters. The sign went up that morning, its brass letters gleaming. Starlight Enterprises. Not bad for a coffee slinger, Jasper said, handing me a latte. Speaking of coffee, Cassandra appeared, balancing a tray of scones. She traded her stilettos for sneakers, her nails chipped from months behind the counter. The crew wants their usual. How's Dad doing at that diner job? Jasper asked. Still bussing tables, she said. Grumbles, but he's there every shift. And Mom? I asked. Shift lead at that boutique. She's different. Humbler. I turned to her. Ready for a change? She froze. What? I need a manager for the Williamsburg location. Someone who knows the grind. Her jaw dropped. Me? I've only been here 6 months. 6 months of showing up, learning, never complaining. I handed her a contract. Think about it. Tears welled in her eyes. Why? After everything. Because you earned it. I nodded toward the warehouse. This is about building, not breaking. Inside, the space buzzed with activity designers, coders, contractors. My assistant flagged me down. Your father's here. I found Victor in the lobby, his work boots scuffed, his hands calloused. Nice place, he said gruffly. Thanks. What's up? I got offered a supervisor role at the diner. He cleared his throat. Turned it down. Why? Haven't earned it. He met my gaze. You showed me that. Did I? I crossed my arms. He pulled out an envelope. This is for the loft. I know it was yours, but I want to make it right. I glanced at the check, small but clearly everything he had. I tore it in half. Keep it. You'll need it. Elise. You want to fix things? Keep working. Keep learning. I handed back the pieces. That's worth more than money. Cassandra burst in. Health Department greenlit Williamsburg. We're good to go. She paused, seeing Dad. Oh, your sister offered me a job, she told him. Running the new store. He smiled, actually smiled. Take it. She's better at this than I ever was. Speaking of, Jasper called, waving papers. The mayor wants a meeting. And the Chamber of Commerce wants you to keynote. Tell them yes, I said, turning to Victor. I've got work to do. Real work. He nodded, heading out, then paused. Your mother'd love to see this. Tell her to come by. Business hours like anyone else. After he left, Cassandra handed me a latte, perfect foam art and all. You're not going easy on them. They didn't go easy on me. I sipped, savoring it. But now they know why. At the city's business awards, I adjusted my name tag. Elise Navarro, CEO, Starlight Enterprises. Cassandra fidgeted beside me, her title Director of Operations still new. Mom and Dad are here, she whispered, nodding toward the back. They bought tickets, I said. That's something. Jasper grinned. Business of the year's up. Ready. Speech. Cassandra looked panicked. I winked. Why do you think we're at the head table? The mayor took the stage. This year's winner has redefined our city's landscape, creating jobs, sparking growth, and proving dreams can be profitable. Starlight Enterprises began as a single cafe, defying odds to become a beacon of innovation. I stood as my name echoed, applause crashing over me. At the podium, my hand brushed the torn envelope from Christmas Eve, still in my pocket, a talisman of resilience. Success isn't handed to you, I said, meeting my family's eyes. It's forged in rejection, built on defiance. Sometimes the people who should lift you up tear you down. That's okay. It means you lift yourself higher. Laughter rippled as Lila hooped. But success isn't just profit. It's growth. It's watching your sister trade entitlement for grit. I nodded at Cassandra. It's seeing your parents learn the value of honest work. It's building something bigger than spite. Mom's hand gripped Dad's, tears on her cheeks. Starlight began as my escape. Now it's a promise of second chances. For our city, our team, even those who once cast you aside. I held up the envelope. This was my disinheritance. I kept it to remember betrayal. Now it reminds me of redemption, not just mine, but everyone's capacity to evolve. The room roared as I stepped down. Cassandra hugged me. That wasn't just business. Never is, I said. Mom and Dad approached, hesitant. Your speech, Dad said. We don't deserve it. It's not about deserving. I cut him off. It's about doing better. We're proud, Mom said. Not just of this, but you. Even without the family name? I couldn't resist. You built a better one, Dad said. Cassandra grinned. Should we tell them about the youth center? I nodded. We're turning the Dumbo warehouse into a training hub, teaching kids to build their own dreams. Like bussing tables? Dad asked, a spark in his eye. Exactly. I turned to Mom. We need mentors. Retail experience. You in. Her breath caught. Me. You've learned something about starting over. Share it. I'd be honored, she whispered. Jasper appeared with champagne. To Starlight's future. No, I said, raising my glass. To beginnings earned, not given. As we toasted, Lila caught my eye, her smile saying it all. Revenge had been sweet, but this building something real, watching my family rebuild themselves, was sweeter. Cassandra leaned in. That Christmas Eve? Best thing that ever happened to us. How? It broke us. Made us honest. She glanced at our parents, laughing with Jasper. Made us family again. I pulled out my phone, showing her the youth center's plans. Ready to help others find that? Born ready, she said. Sometimes the greatest triumph isn't outshining your doubters. It's lighting the way for them to shine, to one coffee, one lesson, one hard-won chance at a time. Word count. 19,872.
If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.